I have been waiting a long time to say these words. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here. No, not those words. And welcome to our first look at New Cycle. There, them's the words. Yes, this post-apocalyptic city builder that is along the same lines of Frostpunk, with it being a desperate future for a dying Earth, with elements of maybe surviving the aftermath and also end zone apart. Well, New Cycle is a game that certainly got my attention during its demo periods, and now the developers have graciously given us early access to the full build. So thanks to them for sponsoring today's video, and you can check it out with its link down below in the description as it releases on January 18th, 2024. Now, we've seen a lot of this game during the demo period, a few updated demos too that really showcase a beautiful post-apocalyptic Earth where essentially the sun has exploded and Earth has lost all of its technology. We're going back to essentially the era of like the 1800s with the Industrial Revolution. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of other games we love on the channel like Anno 1800 and everything else I mentioned, including Banished, yet it feels completely new. And that's one thing that I've really liked about this one, including something that really blew my mind, which is trading with AI characters that are kind of using chat GPT to communicate with you. Instead of a trader coming in and you just click here and there in order to trade, you know, I'll trade you this wood for this stone, and then they leave, you can actually have conversations with them, which absolutely blew my mind. And I'd love to see that implemented in other games like a future Civilization game, where instead of just clicking here and there and, you know, seeing a bar at the bottom turn red or green based on whether or not they want to agree with that trade deal, or a trader agreeing to give you resources or something in exchange for money. Yeah, that was something that really set this game apart. I mean, really. Check the channel for some other videos on that one and YouTube Shorts for it too, but damn, New Cycle is one I'm happy to showcase. So one great thing here that I love about the game already is that at this point, we've already played the Sandbox mode, which features several different difficulties within it. Like, for example, we have ourselves a Sandbox mode, campaign mode, and a few other campaigns as well, kind of like mini campaigns that add more to the story and see the perspective from other characters too. But in the Sandbox mode, we also get to choose meadow, tundra, steppe, and mountain, which probably unlock at different completions of the game and or different versions, since we are playing a little bit of an early access version, although this is much more content than we've ever seen before. In addition to what I just mentioned about the different biomes, we also have a difficulty setting, so we can pretty much make things easy, normal, hard, or very hard, or a mix of anything that we want. So we can make completely our own custom games. Love that. I've been praising that and seeing a lot more of that from developers, especially for RPGs, allowing you to do all sorts of different settings and make the game either easier or more difficult or tedious, however you want it. Some players love to play things on expert, yet turn certain things off that they find to be annoying or just don't add to the gameplay. So if none of this appeals to you, you can make your own custom game, and you can do so in many different map types, and that's fantastic. So, and very good Sandbox mode that we played so far on the channel, to where just the demo alone lasted about 6+ hours. But today I want to take our first look at the campaign mode and see a little bit of what this game has to offer in terms of its story and how it is going to present the post-apocalyptic world that awaits us, a future beyond survival, let's say. We're not necessarily just trying to survive, but also lead humanity into technology yet again, and a really weird mix of, again, post-apocalyptic Earth as of modern day, but then also a really interesting, like, industrial revolution. Some games allow us to go back to medieval times, some are kind of a post-apocalyptic Earth with modern technology, but this is almost like taking the knowledge of today and going back to the times of the Industrial Revolution. So I certainly want to play through the Sanity and Old Ways campaigns when we unlock those. But anyway, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and check out more information down below in the description, as well as the link for this one for all other details if you're curious. You guys are always asking some great questions here about all the different city builders we play, so definitely do a little bit of your own research there with the links and find out if this is one for you, or add it to your wish list, or get it today. All right, let's go ahead and start our first look at the New Cycle campaign. Let's go. Now, we've played on the meadow before, but as you can see, this does change the map a little bit. There's plus 40 morale, there's less meat, or there's kind of some extreme conditions, like, for example, weather, and then there's even more difficulty, like, for example, less hunting but more mining. We played on the meadows before, so for today we'll play on the tundra, and we'll kind of see how things go for us. And we'll play on normal, since it's our first time.
The will to survive and the desire to create something are humanity's most important drives. Even the worst strokes of fate cannot break these needs. In the upcoming City Builder strategy game, New Cycle from Turkish developer Core Engage, it is up to you to prove that these drives will always exist. In New Cycle, you set out to rebuild society as the leader of a small band of survivors after large parts of the world have been destroyed by a devastating solar flare. You start your settlement by gathering basic resources to satisfy the needs of your people and give them hope for a better life. Over time, refugees will join you, children will be born, and your small community will grow. But as a result, the needs and demands of your people will grow as well. If these needs are not met, the morale of the entire settlement will deteriorate, with potential devastating outcomes. Through hard work and consistent research into forgotten technologies, you'll evolve your settlement. The more advanced the technology, the higher the requirements for completing that research will be. For example, paper production and a corresponding supply of wood for the sawmill play a major role in your ability to evolve your settlement. In addition, some research branches build on top of each other. If you haven't researched basic metalworking techniques, you simply don't have the base to process tin ore to ingots later. You will only have to manage a handful of different resources at the beginning, but this number increases threefold or even fourfold after a few hours into the game. More technologies ensure a steadily increasing quality of life for your people, but also lead to higher demands from your residents. Soon, it will no longer be enough for your inhabitants to live from emergency rations or to run through the streets in torn rags. They will demand a variety of meals, warm clothes, and proper health care. In order not to jeopardize progress, you must legislate. Are you giving your people more rights while slowing down your economic progress? Or are you enslaving them to ensure high production yields while having children work in the factories? The more your settlement grows, the more difficult it will become to keep the production chains running. Initially, this is easy because there are only a few stations and buildings that are connected with each other in terms of production and technology. Luckily, from time to time, merchants will visit your town who allow you to trade goods. As you progress, you'll need to weigh up exactly how many hunter-gatherers you really need to maintain basic supplies. This is because more advanced buildings need more staff and also better trained residents, such as craftsmen or specialists. With time, the power supply for your settlement also becomes a cosmos of its own. If you position your wind turbines well at the beginning, you'll be set for the future. But you can't always rely on the wind, and further into the game, you will have the opportunity to produce larger amounts of electricity via coal-based power plants. In addition, some buildings later in the game, such as mines or smelters, consume a lot of power, which automatically leads to bottlenecks. Also, random sandstorms can have a massive impact on the efficiency of your wind turbines. An event like this inevitably leads to the question, which buildings do you shut down in order to not put the power supply of your most important infrastructure at risk? And how will your residents react to smaller food rations or to strenuous extra shifts, even if it is only for a short time? The morale of your residents is not the only challenge. Harsh winters, sandstorms, droughts, and other natural disasters pose a constant threat to your fragile community's efficiency and health. Of course, there are also glimmers of hope. Completing tasks brought to you by your residents or visitors is always a welcome morale booster. It gets even more exciting in the later parts of the game, when you're able to send expeditions into the surrounding areas of your town. You never know what resources and opportunities your scouts will encounter on their journeys. Maybe they'll find valuable resources that you can mine, or even a particularly rich hunting ground. In any case, it is worthwhile to explore the world around you and set up outposts, even if it is only a watchtower which guides new refugees to your settlement. The fight for survival in New Cycle is an exciting roller coaster of ups and downs that will demand everything from you. Only smart city planning with constant development, quick problem solving, and the courage to make hard decisions can ensure the survival of your settlement. Core Engage's debut title takes the best from other well-known city builder games, but at the same time, the developers make sure to give the genre its own spin to make New Cycle's gameplay unique. The game will release in early access on January 18th, offering a Sandbox mode, as well as a campaign that acts as both a large-scale adventure and tutorial that will teach you everything you need to know to succeed in the more challenging scenarios. Prepare to take drastic measures to save these cities from their demise. In Sandbox mode, you can select exactly how difficult the game will be and which biome you want to settle down in. Each biome available at the early access launch offers an exciting mix of advantages and disadvantages. For example, if you choose the mountainous region, you will have to deal with harsh winters and less food, but you will have significantly increased yields from mining. So, would you like to take a closer look at New Cycle from Turkish developer Core Engage? Wishlist the game today, so you don't miss out on news and the early access launch on the 18th of January.
Here we go. Oh, a beautiful loading screen for sure. Now, another thing to note, too, is that the developers have given us access to the game early, and they're still developing the game. So if at any point throughout the campaign, any sort of new developments make it so that way we can't continue the campaign due to corruption of a save file, the developers are already going to hook us up with some other pre-made saves of other Sandbox worlds and whatnot. So if we can't do a full Sandbox or campaign playthrough before its launch, we'll certainly do that after, and that's a good thing for us because then we can see what makes this game different based on what the devs have built and whatnot. Now let's go ahead and slow things down a little bit. There we go. All right, welcome to New Cycle, a message from the community. First off, I love the buildings. Again, this reminds me of End Zone, A World Apart, but I do appreciate that they're made out of, modern shipping containers, cloth, and then there is actually power. Although the solar event did pretty much destroy everything, some people are already able to reclaim some things and rebuild them and make them work. So that's pretty cool. All right, so this landscape gives us a river. Oftentimes we'll see other former things from man, like, for example, train lines, maybe, I think I've seen lighthouses before. And I do believe each of these maps, if we play in Sandbox mode, are procedurally generated. Don't quote me on that, but I do believe that that is the intent, at least at some point, to be able to, or at least I could see it being a thing where some things could be different in each of the different maps. And, of course, for campaign purposes, they'll probably be the same. But if we play Sandbox, I really hope that's the way it will be. Now, other maps also do bring us to the coast where we can do fishing, but we probably could do some fishing here along this river. And scouting out, we see a lot of resources for us, including this forest here, which will offer us mushrooms and possibly hunting opportunities and some iron deposits on the surface here. Lots of resources to manage. We have logs and stone, iron ore, mushrooms, meat. We also have to manage water, which is used for cooking, too. We can make soups and stews, and that's something that we can make there, simple meals. We also have lumber, which we can fabricate from sawmills, and then iron ore, basic tools from that, leather, clothes, clay, and paper, too. And then, of course, the all-important electricity, which we already are producing a little bit. We're producing about 200 kilowatts via our HQ. So let's go ahead and jump in and see what awaits us. Welcome to New Cycle, a message from the community. You're now the governor of this little community. It's been nearly half a century since the first solar flare. In the initial moments of the catastrophe, we lost our entire technological infrastructure, our means of global sourcing, and almost everything that we share as a civilization. The following years were humanity's darkest, having to wrestle with constant impossibility, and despair, from battles fought with sticks and stones to nuclear wars. We ended up destroying ourselves, what little the sun had left for us, and civilization fell. Yeah, a very dark and deep story here with humanity both blotting out the sun in a solar flare. Basically, humanity making it worse than the sun ever could. No surprise, huh? Everyone here was born into this new world, and you have to be their leader. Current flimsy shelter can't carry us far, so we'll need to rebuild everything from scratch with the efforts of those who remain, so we can establish a sustainable way of life. We need to rediscover our lost knowledge and explore our surroundings to create new possibilities. Most importantly, beyond merely surviving, we have to find a way of securing our next generation, by whose time the world may not be habitable anymore. We don't know how we can preserve life as we know it, but we can at least help build something that we may call home. Yeah. So essentially, we've already got our little HQ, our headquarters that they're alluring to, which is shown in the background, that little windmill and the building itself. So let's go ahead and continue with the tutorial, just so everyone knows the basics. And this could serve as a helpful video for anyone looking to do a tutorial, or may have missed something from the tutorial as well. Transition to settled life. Chief, our nomadic lifestyle gave us enough knowledge to build simple shacks. If we are to settle down here, we will need sturdier and more durable shelters, workplaces, and storage depots, and for that, we need to be able to process a variety of resources. We can get started by collecting some resources. Primitive structures are made out of logs and stones, and those will suffice for a start. We can gather those raw resources by building a field camp close to the resources we need. So our first goal then is to build that field camp and 20 logs and 10 stones. Very nice. The music in this game is very damn good too. I've got to say, the sound design is pretty good. The music is great, and again, I love the AI, and I can't wait until we get some AI trading here. Now, in some of the maps, we can see remnants of old roads, and here we can kind of see paths which either were made by deer running through the forest or by actual nomadic peoples passing through, such as us, where we kind of see a road winding through. Now, another great thing about this game that a lot of players have praised is that if you look on this map here, boom, we have a grid-based system or not a grid-based system. You can do whatever you want. So if you want to free place things like the upcoming Manor Lords, yeah, you can literally build a road freely as you choose, and you can build a building near it or snap it right to it, or as you see on the left, everything can be grid-based. Now, in my opinion, the grid-based is probably the best for laying out your homes to optimize space to, make the most amount of homes close together in your initial settlement. But on the right side, it's good to kind of spread things out and make them look more natural if you're building those work camps that they wanted us to do too. So really cool that this game is not a grid-based city builder, nor is it a free-based city builder. You can do both. And I'm seeing a lot more games do that, and this is one that kind of stuck out as a sore thumb in a good way, as one that, that this is doing it this way. Very good. Now, I feel more games should do things this way, and I like that. So again, there's our free placement mode. If we hit Tab, Q and E to rotate, or we can rotate on a 90-degree basis here on the grid, which is pretty cool too. So yeah, it's cool that you can actually do both and you don't have to choose. That's very nice. Okay, well, what I'd like to do before we build that is see if we can actually build roads. We cannot, but I do want to look around a few things here. We'll probably play a little slower because we want to see what else may be new here or different from the previous demos. First of all, we do have different classes in this game. So we have workers, and we have I think that's maybe the second tier. I forget what they each are called, but if we take a look here under population management, we can see worker class. Oh, here it is. So tier 1 is workers, tier 2 is craftsmen, and tier 3 is specialist. So this essentially is like an anno where you have your farmers, your workers, and maybe like your artisans or whatnot. But here we have workers who are going to bust their backs and cutting down trees and doing some blacksmithing and whatnot. Then people who will even go further into that, like making tools and more advanced items. And then specialists who might, as they say here, they're kind of more big brains. They're like working on counting and making sure, other things are taken care of. They crunch the numbers, essentially. So a lot of great information here on all the different stats for your people. So as you keep them more happy and provide them with the basic goods like food, water, tools, and clothes, that's then what will help them to jump up to the next tier. And then they'll want other things like, for example, housing, entertainment, health, and security. So we will need to build like infirmaries, hospitals, guard stations, that kind of thing to make sure that they feel safe. And that's really important. And then there's a whole tech tree here too. So we'll unlock things like establishment, basic construction, and then all the way down the line between the different tiers. And I believe we have some requirements for that go possibly beyond that. Yeah, okay. So required knowledge and time. So it will take a little bit of knowledge and then 24 hours to research it, and then it'll also take some wood for basic construction, for example. So there's a few things that go into research that make it a lot of fun. Was that birds flying over? Oh, yeah. Look at that. Another thing I loved about the game is how the map looks. We have some gorgeous flowers, trees, rocks, and whatnot. And again, that's just what I saw in Farthest Frontier 2, another game just like this that this has got all the check marks that I want to see for future city builders like this already. So I do like seeing those things tremendously. All right, well, we have some stone here. We have some logs here for the trees. And then, of course, we have some what looks to be iron ore here. So that would be a perfect spot to start our first field camp. And we don't have to just start with one. We can build multiple. But eventually I'm going to build it here. And I'm going to try to have my road mimic this road here, just to make it look like a natural road or pathway that the people would take. All right, let's get started. Enough yapping. Let's get to building. So our people now are going to go over there and carry all the things that they need to go over to that construction site. And we'll speed up time to 1. So we have a few camps that people start with. A couple of homes, basically. They're homeless, but they're shelters, so they're not just sleeping under the sun or whatever remains of it. So they're going to come out of some of these buildings and head over there and start building. So, yep, you can see suitcases of supplies. Sometimes you'll see people carry things on their back like, yep, giant crates like this guy, exactly.
In the end, we'll see
another day. And if you click on them, they have something to say. Yeah, there's a lot of care put into this one. I don't know. Don't take my word for it. Download the demo if it's available, or again, check it out in the description. I just like what I got here. Stockpiles, lumber mills. Very excited to build this stuff. I'm loving it. Oh yeah, we have water layers too, so we can build our wells. We have wind layers, so we can build future windmills to produce more power. We have mining, so both surface and below ground, I believe, and fertility for farming, and then drilling as well, which might allude to oil. I don't know. I've never gotten that far, so we'll see. I love the little camp sitting here too. Nice little detail. These will disappear, of course, just like the shacks in Tropico once you give your people appropriate housing, so that's good too. And this game's going to have all sorts of tips and things. We do have a seasonal cycle over in the lower right corner. We see it's spring year 1, and that we're not having any sort of rain. It says renewal of resources for the spring based on precipitation. So that could be mushrooms, that could be other things like that. So let's go ahead and get some people assigned. We're going to take our workers now and assign 3 of them to cutting down trees, woodcutters, and then 3 of them cutting down stone. I like the fact that it's just a general work camp that, you know, everybody can bring everything back to, and then bring it from there to wherever our next construction site is. So we'll follow all that. What do we have here? Refreshment, plus 40 to all classes. Yeah, you get a little bit of a boost at the beginning. Starting out, people are very optimistic, and then as things go on, they can get more deadly and dreary depending on how you manage your settlement, of course. So, you know, obviously if you're going to have huge shortages of supplies, people are not going to be too happy. We also can mine iron from here too, so we might end up building more than just, we'll have to unlock that, of course, but yeah, we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that one. And sometimes it's a good idea not to cut too many resources down too quickly as well. You might want to pace yourself a little bit and build 2, so that way you can have them spaced out, or quickly clear an area so you can build houses there. That's one thing to think of too, is that we can actually, you know, clear cut all this area and build houses here, which we're not able to do before. Okay, current task is to mine 10 stone. We're pretty much done with that. Just 1 more to go, and then 20 logs, which they're getting pretty close to doing as well. Now, I'm going to try to double down on a lot of our stuff here. And I'm going to try to do free build again. Go ahead and try to do something like that. And we can build close to it. Again, I love the... I just can't get over the weeds and the grass in these games. Again, another one that did it really well is a game called Frozenheim. And Frozenheim and Farthest Frontier made me start paying attention to this. And when developers can make a world that's so beautiful, even though it's post-apocalyptic, and it's painful to actually build on it because you're destroying what is a beautiful... I don't know, it's a Bob Ross painting, and it feels painful to actually like build stuff here. So I do like that. And also areas of lower fertility here. If we take a look on our filters. Oh, tutorial step 1 complete. Anyway, this area looks like it'll be worse to farm in because, of course, there's no stuff there. There's no, like, grass, so it's probably not going to be as fertile. Processing and development. Off to a promising start, Chief. We may go on gathering nearby resources for a while. We should focus on producing more complex materials by processing raw ones. Our settlement can develop as far as the limits of our knowledge and production. We can create flexible and processable constructions or objects through woodworking. Build a lumber mill and produce 30 lumber. All right. Now, the lumber mill can also produce paper at a certain point, too, so it's a good idea to double down on everything. Here you can see lumber or paper for the lumber mill. So it's a good idea to maybe double down if you need to. I'm going to keep the industry a little bit outside of town, but we will need 2 lumber mills eventually, so I'm going to also try to square these up. Really appreciate the free placement, a lot of this stuff. It's about as square as I can get it, so we'll plop that down over here. There we go. All right, so now the lumber mill is being constructed. That'll be our planks, or as they call it, lumber. So that's good. That'll be one of the next things. This is done now, too. And what do we have for workers? We've got 26 out of 35, and I believe that's total employment. I think that means of the 35 people we have, 26 of them are working, I think, or at least some of the people who are building stuff might be auto-employed. I'm not too sure on that one. Not too sure. We'll see, though. I think we can also give our people more and less rations. A great breakdown of everything going on in the city. So if you're very keen on looking at graphs and statistics and all that kind of stuff, you can definitely click on that and see a ton of it. Annual reports, summary, and production. And then there's more ways to control our people beyond that, too. Yeah, there's rations somewhere, which I think they'll ask us to modify, so we'll get to that a little bit later. So yeah, there's layers upon layers in this one, so I've been very excited to play. And yeah, the demos had just made it worse because I want to start a series for you guys. I want to play both the campaign and the sandbox mode pretty much simultaneously, and I do appreciate the time that the developers put into making campaign modes, which are good, including the last 2 ones, which seem to be a little bit more challenging. So, in my opinion, I think a campaign is a very good way to learn how to play a game and get through it and kind of be immersed in the vibe and the world that developers are trying to put in front of us. And then sandbox mode is a great way to take those skills and put them to the test. And then additional DLCs, updates, and other campaigns are fantastic to bring it even further, especially if you've loved it. So it is good to see games challenging us and then pouring it on with other types of game modes to really make you think and make painful decisions, which this one eventually will make us do. Okay, so now we've got ourselves a lumber mill ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and start producing planks here. So that's what we're going to focus on. Planks there. Then this will be our efficiency based on how many people we've hired, and then it'll tell us some things that we don't have. Like, for example, we haven't connected it to a road, so we've got to get that going so people can easily transport stuff back and forth. And this building's been operational for a day. Did they let us build roads yet? We'll have to research that now under establishment. So, yeah, going to be a little slow and go for everybody to get stuff in there. But, yeah, look at that. People are, like, transporting refrigerators on their backs. It's crazy. All right, quick tip. Oh, they said we could hit Alt key. Ah, so we can actually see what's working and what's not. So you can change your views. So a little way to see who's doing what, or what building's producing what, or who's employed where. That's really nice, rather than just clicking on every single building or remembering who's working where. All right, let's go ahead and get a few more people onto stone. Oh, there's no resources here. Did we mine all the stone? We did. Wow, that was quick. Or at least these are already assigned to this one, so there's no additional stone to be mined there. Now, eventually we can delete that and rebuild it somewhere else. So I don't think there's a way to adjust our working areas. So it's going to be important that we build closest to those resources, which is why it's nice to free build like that. Very cool stuff. Okay, so we've got 30 lumber on the way. We'll go ahead and speed up time a little bit as we kind of wait to get through the tutorial. And things in this game will take some time. It does have a much, even if you're on a higher speed, has a slower pace of doing things, which I do appreciate because we don't have the most amount of territory to build in. It's maybe dangerous around there, or we can possibly, you know, trade for the things that we need so we don't have to have the biggest city ever. So it's good to be organized in the space that we have. Other games do that a lot too, where, you know, we can only build so far until it's important to then start upgrading density, which is another way to think of things. Rather than building outwards, it's a good idea to point to build upwards. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so we are building those, yep, we're making those planks now, so that's good. So now we're starting to pump those out as we clicked on our lumber. The next thing to unlock, it's funny, it shows a question mark, but we know, you know, through deduction that this is going to be paper. that we just need to research a little bit later. So that'll be helpful for us. Stone deposits, iron deposits. I believe there's also copper below the surface, and also coal that we can find at certain rocky areas, things that are like mountains, like that. And there must be some sort of a way to make a bridge, because half of the map is isolated from us, so there must be a way that David Haroldson will come over and ask for those tools, so that way he can build that beautiful bridge. I'm telling you, there's certain things about this game that really makes me put things on my radar where it's like, okay, I want every game to have these certain things now. More games should have the free build mode where you can build wherever the heck you want and like freely lay things out, and also grid mode. Giving players options is an incredibly powerful and important thing. All right, tutorial 2 now complete. The logs are in place. Every operation is harder to perform in a settlement without roads. Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. No, we do. Connecting all the buildings in our village with a road network will be a convenience that the workforce and the circulation of raw material, that'll benefit us greatly, of course. While not mandatory for other operations, road construction is a prerequisite for building infrastructure, such as bridges and tunnels. So confirmed, we can do both of those things. Build a road between the lumber mill and the main hall. All right, let's do it then. Now, I think we have to do some research for that. No, it was just locked behind progression. Roads, there you go. Yep, and with road building, you can build it like you are playing like City Skylines modded or something like that. You can literally build road nodes to be able to build and bend a road. Now, what's interesting here is roads take both stone and wood to make. And it's like, well, why would, okay, I understand stone, but why would a road take wood? Well, there's actually power lines next to those roads too. So not only are you building a road system, but you're also building a power grid system, although you can build that grid freely, or a grid. So you can have a grid or a free grid, whatever you want. It's all good. Oh, Dusty. Dusty Roads, as it says. Dusty Roads, a great country music star name. Let's go ahead and build a grid here, though. And no need to worry about building where people's homes are. They'll kind of, move. Yeah, hate to do it, but, I gots to do it. We'll build start a grid there, and then we'll build down this way. So we'll try to do that free build mode. Actually, we can bring that from the sawmills here. And let's build a windy free road here. And then we can hold shift and left mouse button to build a, as they call it, a road point. So that's where it'll bend. So we're going to, again, try to follow this road here best we can. And this is something I really enjoyed doing in the demo, was trying to test this system to see how bendy the roads could get. At a certain point, I believe the roads will also try to build up on a, like an embankment, almost like with rail lines and stuff, where they'll kind of build upwards, that kind of thing. But here, oh, that looks so good. That looks so good. And look at that. Even some of the poles are kind of tipping over a little bit, It's not perfect. This is just all makeshift. So, well done. Love that. All right, let's go ahead and build the road a little bit further. Just up this way. I should have kind of went a little more rogue with that road, but that's cool. All right, that'll be where traders come in. Now, I believe the trades in this game literally come in with elephants and whatnot. I think there's like wild beasts that people travel the earth with now. Huge beasts, like elephants, in order to try to bring trades to the masses, including David Haroldson, our good friend. David Haroldson, the trader. Hopefully he shows up again. If he does, it's gonna blow my mind. Looks like the game's still trying to do a grid system here, so we kind of have to be smarter than the game a little bit to try to do that. Oh, a group of travelers have appeared in our settlement. Oh, wait a minute. Do we have to allow them in? Can I? Ah, yes. Hello. Foreigners. They've got a question mark above their head. A group of unfamiliar people approaching. They're kind of just standing there, even though things are on paused. Maybe that might pop up at the HQ. Ah, here's where we can do some edicts or book of law type things too. So we have actions, cycle progress, and even advisors who will help us out in making decisions in the city, which again is like, wow, they can do that too. All right, well, let's go ahead and build a road here. Try to do it like this. Wherever it'll let me. We might be out of resources to build this too. Am I out of resources? Yeah, we need 4 lumber. That's what it is. So we'll go ahead and go back to normal speed. I do like the half speed option too, because as you're intricately setting something out, you can really slow it down So you can get the best of both worlds by slowing things down so you have the time to do it correctly, but then also the game isn't totally paused the whole time, so there's no sound or you feel so lonely and isolated without the world continuously functioning like that. All right, we're going to build down this way too. Now, I don't think we necessarily have to connect to that perfectly. Yeah, as you can see, it's complete. So we just need to kind of get close, and it'll count. The people are smart enough to almost make their own walkways to the road so long as it's close enough. Source of life. People are the most significant resource for our settlement. We must respond to a wide range of demands from basic to costly. We have to set up a self-sufficient system to meet our basic requirements. We can start by constructing a well to meet our need for clean water. Build a well and produce 60 water. Oh, yes, indeed. All right. So now they're basically going to tell us about the whole system regarding saturation, hydration, or groundwater. And so, again, with the water layer, we can see where there's the most amount of water. And there's a little bit near the camp. Actually, it'd probably be best to build up there so they don't have to go so far out of town. But some industries may require water, too, that we want to build out away from where we want to build our homes. So, for example, here, I might want to build our homes going this way. This will be our neighborhood. And so we want all of our supporting industries around us. So, but we can plop that down for now. And we can also see over on the left side a well with the notches next to it. So here we got about 3 notches. It's rich. We can probably go up to maybe 4 if we get lucky, but 3 is probably, oh yeah, oh wow. Yeah, we'll probably actually want to build in the forest. And that's usually the better place to build too. You can also see these little nodes where the more of them that we hit, the better. So, and I believe, yeah, so it's not necessarily on depth inside the blue field, but more the nodes. I believe these wells are automatic. I believe that there's not workers required for this. But it is important for our soup kitchens and whatnot. Let's go ahead and build here. Oh, wow, that's almost a full bar. Let's go ahead and build that right around here. There it is. The group of strangers flag just popped up. Oh, they had to walk all the way to the camp. Excellent. The more a settlement grows, the more attention we'll get from passers-by, and the more people will be willing to join us, both for more frequently and in larger groups. Ah, wonderful. Well, welcome aboard. 2 workers. So, the more our legend and reputation grows, the more people that will want to be a part of our camp. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Okay, we're building the well, and we're going to produce 60 water from that. Cool. Very nice. Now, I can assure you the progression in this game is a lot more better paced than what I'm showing. Here, I'm trying to both, inform and give everyone a good tutorial as to what the features are here and maybe how to play. But as I played this before, I think everything that I've done here could probably take just maybe no more than 15 minutes. So even though the game is a slower pace, once you know what you're doing and once you know what's needed for the next step in progression, you can do it no problem. So build your little work camps, lumber mill, then right onto the wells. And next, I think, is going to be homes for all the people here. And you can see it's already summer year 1. And we're getting a lot of rain here. A lot of storming going on. So we'll see what happens with the weather here and how it affects things. Wow, that's a big oak tree right there. Look at that. And the well is complete. So efficiency is 100, workforce 70, 67 per day. They do want us to connect it to a road, so we can do that too. And we can kind of connect that off over this way. Of course, I didn't want to cut down any of the trees. So we tried to avoid that. Oh, let's build that. Meow. Yeah, look at that. Looks really good. Love it. Yeah, but you can do what you want. You don't have to follow these paths either. I'm just doing that because I noticed that when I was playing. And there's a little bit of the embankments, the elevations. So I find that fun to build on there. It encourages you. The devs are like, hey, you can do things grid-like if you want. But come on, man. Don't you want to do it the cool way? It's like, all right, fine, I'll do it the cool way. Which is good. It's more free. And, you can kind of just get away from that old grid system. But, again, buildings are square in this game. So, best of both worlds. Love it. All right, more chopping. Chop, chop. Tutorial complete. Excellent. We'll go on to our next task. Daily bread. Now that we have access to water, we're only one step short of calling this place home. A life without the worry of hunger will turn us into a real society. Although we don't yet have enough resources for hunting, farming, or animal husbandry, our experience in staying alive, living off the land may come in handy. Lots of easily found edible mushrooms are scattered all around. We should build a gathering camp and start stockpiling raw food. Build a gathering camp and gather 40 mushrooms. So from here, we're going to make some stew. And eventually, I think we can make stew out of meat, venison, deer that we can get. And then there's more things. Yeah, you can see it right there. Possibly a group of deer that could be in there somewhere. Could also be small game like rabbits, squirrels. Anything will do. Keep that protein level up, brother. All right, there's some of our mushrooms here. And again, we're probably going to build multiple mushroom mines. You know, we got to go deep down under the Earth's surface, under the crust, mine for those mushrooms. Nah. Do you like mushrooms, by the way? I'm just curious question for all you watching. I know some people don't mind them. Some people hate them, can't stand them. I heard somewhere that mushrooms were actually humanity, our flesh, or something about us is closer to mushrooms than we are closer to animal. I don't know. I don't know. So someone can elaborate. Smart people watch this channel, I'm not. So you know, you can elaborate down below. Look at that. There was a little change to the terraforming there. Did you notice that? If we build like that. All right, it could be a little too far for us to build and utilize lumber. I know I'm falling in love with the whole free build system, so I should be a little more cautious, but there we go. Press that. We'll go bendy here. A little bendy. And then our building right off that way. Kind of like the idea, though, of building a building close to a large road. Where it's like, maybe the building itself doesn't have a lot of traffic. Like a forager probably, you know, wouldn't have as much traffic as like a warehouse or something like that, you know? So it's kind of cool to build it close, where it's kind of isolated, but, you know, pathways could be established. Plus, a lot of these buildings don't necessarily need power, but maybe the sawmill will. You'd imagine in the future, wow, they almost destroyed it with the tree. Yeah, so you'd imagine in the future maybe a sawmill could actually use a, you know, electric blade in order to then turn all those logs into lumber, which is really nice too. You can see what we're consuming per day too. So if right now the only consumption of the wood is from our own construction, but eventually things will be made out of lumber per day, like tools and whatnot. So that's something to keep an eye on too. All right, next will be a soup camp. I think it'll give it to us shortly. There it is, soup kitchen. So we can build that closer to the town if we want to. But right now it's good. Love the worker coming out and working on that. Appreciate you, bruh. Thanks for coming on out. Guy's a good guy. It's David Henderson's brother. Yeah, let's go ahead and swing that around. Meow. Game does a pretty good job of trying to link those together. I got to give it props. It attempts. There's a good attempt. I like that. It's not going to be perfect. And honestly, when it doesn't look perfect, that's when it's perfect, because it fits the world around us. Everything's kind of destroyed and a little forgotten and whatnot. And some of these things just look like they're done just quickly to try to get them done so people can move on to the next task of survival. All right, now we're going to be grabbing 72 mushrooms per day. Eventually, I'll build another soup kitchen, and then thus we'll have to build another gatherer too. So it's a good idea to double down on mushroom production and then also meat. And I think what you can do is those two food sources at the start are good to kind of go from one to the other. Gather a bunch of mushrooms, makes soup from it, then the mushrooms will kind of die off for the season, and then the deer will be around, but you don't want to over hunt them. So it's kind of a good balance between the two. It's something really to consider. Oh, camp name. Well, hold on a second. You know we got to name the camp. Glory to Raptoria down below in the comment section. If you've watched this far, we're in our first cycle. There we go. Beautiful. That's official now. We have ourselves an official camp. We got food, we got water, we got firewood, you know, things to build more buildings with. So now it's official. We are now a big O settlement, a camp, as they say. Cool. You can actually see smoke coming out of the chimney there. Love the building design. I'm seeing more and more of these games get more intricate with their building design, where I almost want like a physical, I don't know, 3D printout or something of some of these buildings to paint them. They would be excellent miniatures. The cornerstone of civilization. The time has come to cook our meals. People eating whatever they have on their plates does not mean they're content with it. When there's nothing to eat, they will get demoralized, sick, and even fall into the jaws of death. As a society, we must organize the production and distribution of hot food. For a start, a bowl of soup will do as long as everybody has their share and they don't have to worry about hunger anymore. Yeah, you might not like the mushrooms, but at least they're not gonna... You won't die. It's better than dying of hunger. So let's make 30 simple meals from our basic soup kitchen. Now, I think we're going to build this out here, too. Now, it's unresearched at the moment, so they want us to research that. So that's our first look at research now. So over there at the development tree, and then, of course, we have our establishment, which we've already built some of those things. And now we're moving on to basic construction. So the knowledge and the cost of the lumber there, 24, of which we have 51. So start that research, and within a day, our engineers will have a soup kitchen and a stockpile built, and then also a recipe for simple meals. So our genius survivors are working on a way to safely harvest those mushrooms, how to process those into food, and we'll be using those in the soup kitchen. I guess we already know how to harvest based on our gathering camp. And as they mentioned, our folks were once nomads, so they know the right and wrong mushrooms to gather and not to gather. So, or it depends on if you like to party, I guess, you know. Hey, shiitake party, y'all, you know. Okay, let's go ahead and build ourselves the soup kitchen ASAP as soon as research is done. I wonder if there's actually an on-screen display of how research is going. Morale, health, and attractiveness. Ooh, very nice. Ideology natural. Ah, there's going to be ideologies too. That might come into play in some of those other scenarios that we saw, the other campaign modes. This tree has been knocked down for like 200 years. Man, that must be providing wood for every house in the camp. Well, it will in the future. All right. Oh, looks like the folks, I think, moved over there. Sorry about that. Luckily, they don't mind too much. That's okay. Let's finish our research, shall we? And any building using power should be putting... power should be going through the line from the main camp there. Luckily, it's still at 200, so the sawmill's not using that. The soup kitchen is now complete. Let's go. I think we'll build that over here. Again, I do want to build more than one soup kitchen in the future, but we'll just build one here for now, just to make it look all good and fancy-free over here, right? Just realistic a little bit. So again, you can, and that's a nice thing. I know many of you who watch are very talented at games like Anno, where resource management is incredibly key, and so there is so many things to showcase that. The grid-based system, I think, is much more efficient, and of course, all those statistics and bars and graphs and numbers will definitely make you be the best player you can be to be productive, but if you're a player who likes to just make things look pretty and it's a little bit more form over functionality, then that's good too. All right, let's go ahead and speed up. Oh, actually, wait a minute. This super slow setting is... Oh, that's almost a pause itself. Set game to 0.1 speed. Oh, that's interesting. So there's pause. I think this should be a half speed. This should be 0.5, and this should be 1, in my opinion. But, I mean, at least you can... At least it doesn't bring up this screen where it's like, you know, full pause. I think this would be fine at 0.1. I mean, you could leave for an hour and this guy wouldn't even be over here yet. All right, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But I do appreciate the ability to go up to ×3 speed. That almost seems like a standard nowadays to go from pause to 1 to 3 speed. But I do appreciate the slower speed there, which I hope will be updated to 0.5. That'd be my recommendation. Look at that. That guy's going crazy. Look at that. Look at that. He is going right for those mushrooms. That guy. Look at the hustle on this man. Look at... Dude.
Finally, began to see the light at the end of the
tunnel.
tunnel.
He is getting where the getting is good. He's working at the gathering camp? Oh, man. Alexander Reed is like... I thought he was working at the mushroom gatherer camp. Is that guy working here? Can we use one of the stats to see? I don't know. Oh, look at the tutorials, too, for everything. Beautiful. Oh, that's right. This game is going to have conveyor belts. A train network, too. This game will have trains, conveyor belts. Insanity. This game is going to have everything. So there will be conveyor belts to bring things between buildings or trains to be able to ship them out. Not only just train, you know, like tracks on of the post-apocalyptic world that we can see, but, yeah, some of the images for this game are just beautiful. And, yeah, you got to start from scratch to be able to see that, you know. So maybe in the future, you know, we'll take a look at some dev builds. Let's maybe do that. You guys let me know what you want to see down below. Do you want to see me just continue on with this series, or do you want me to jump into some developer saves to showcase trains and conveyor belts and more end game stuff? I really think that would be a lot more beneficial to all of us. Now, truth be told, the developers want me to not only just showcase some of the new stuff from the game, like the campaign that we haven't seen before, but they're also going ahead with a multi-part series sponsored on this channel that I wanted to try to showcase some other things too. So whether or not that means playing a little bit offline, which I know, I don't like doing it either, but we could do a, me doing some things behind the scenes, so that way we could go ahead and, showcase some more end game stuff that I've made myself just by skipping through a lot of the population building parts. Not the city building itself, but waiting for the population to get high enough to where we can get a workforce to move on to the next thing. Or we can do, well, where the developers have maybe made some really cool looking cities that we could go take a tour of. I'd like to know what you think, though. So let me know down below. I would love to know. Me, myself, I want to do both, really. But we will be playing this game a lot more regardless. This is certainly I'm captivated by this. It's got my full attention, and I hope it does with you too, because we certainly do need more city builders. And for post-apocalyptic, this is nice that it's not like we're seeing, the giant cargo ship up on the shore and, tons of stuff tipped over and, like we're gathering sheet metal and like old oil and things like more Mad Max. This seems a little more clean and peaceful, although I think there's some sinister things that will await us soon. All right, we're making food. Our workforce is getting to it. Oh, right, we need to assign some workers to that as well. There we go. Oh, and look at that, the smokestack immediately going right into it. Love it. Full bore, baby. Actually, now I know. The number on the left is how many workers we have free out of how many we have in total. So 37 people live here, and 16 are now free to work on the next thing. So that's what we can do. So now we got a full circle. The gathering camp gathering mushrooms, and the soup kitchen now gathering, or rather grabbing those mushrooms from the gatherer and making soup. So with 30 meals, we will then be on to house building, homemaking, right? And there's multiple tiers of homes with the different people wanting different things in those homes. The workers that I mentioned, the, what were they, specialists, and the craftsmen as well in the middle. Love how the image changes too when you click. When you click on the different people, you see you got the guy hauling wood, you got the dude being a blacksmith, we got ladies there grabbing, doing some farming, maybe foraging a bit. Everybody works. Everybody does their part. You got a little bit of knowledge from the old world or something, you're in. Although it's been a very long time since the old world, but some knowledge has been passed down from actual people. Look at that. We got a cart working too. I don't think I've seen that before. Wow. And he's going right into the soup kitchen. Sweet. So we might be picking up that food. Outstanding. Very nice. Love it. Got a little ramen shop right here. Boom. Mushroom ramen. Let's go. All right. Well, we could make more, double down on everything, but with only 16 people remaining, that workforce will disappear quickly, especially when we get towards mining. In this game, we eventually start with like surface mining and doing things like that. And that does take a lot of people. We will eventually hit blacksmithing. And, again, we'll have more of these surface mines, these work camps to then get iron. And then that goes right into smelting for ingots and then right into tool making. So that's going to take a lot of population. You got to have a lot of people ready to go. And that's why you want them strong. Population management. Yeah, see? Just what I was saying. We must closely monitor the community's situation, needs, morale levels, and all related factors. We must try to reach the best possible outcomes in our affairs and adapt according to uncertainties in order to maintain a healthy and content society with what we have. In a badly managed community, unrest, diseases, death, and disintegration will quickly take hold. Wow. Explore the population management. All right. That is going to be one of these tabs over here, I thought. Oh, this is production. Explore population management current objective 7 of 9. Oh, no way. The tutorial's ending soon. Here's what we're looking at here. Some of the things that I went over before, covering it more morality, efficiency, class, and then, oh yeah, how many children have been born in each class, I think, too. So how many children may go into that class or be unoccupied. There is a way, too, by the way, to eventually get craftsmen from workers to craftsmen. We must train them. They have to go to school. So it's not like if you just upgrade a house and somebody's got all the things here that they need, like they just showed, that they're just magically going to be an engineer or a specialist. So if we give a worker a better home, they will want to be a craftsman, but they have to go to school to learn things like, welding and further metalworking and whatnot. So very important. So a good tutorial to showcase that, hey, this is not just, shelter people and you're good. You must then start worrying about different classes and thus different levels of production, to which then supply and demand comes into play. And last, our settlement resembles a home. Everyone has a job, something to offer to our society. We're producing food, water, and construction materials. Before ramping up, we need some basic rules and a sense of order. Proportions represent how much of a consumable is used per person in a day. We must respond to every need, but decisions about each proportion should be made according to our resources and production capacity. The general level of morale will be generated by what gets distributed, at what rate, and how successfully. Morale directly influences the production performance of our settlement. Also, it can affect our people's reactions to unexpected events positively or negatively. Set ration distribution to regular and do it for 3 days. All right, cool. So now we're going to be on distributing rations. Here's where it was. So now we're going to increase the number of rations, and that will increase our people's happiness. We could do the same with water, too. I'm going to just go ahead and do that anyway. Although, yeah, we've got plenty of water, to which a lot of it's used for soup, and a lot of it will be used for drinking water. And that's pretty much it for now. But there are some more industries that will likely use that, and it's something that, water's always going to be in demand. That's the source of life. So, okay, we need to do that for 2 days. Soup is a little low, though, but we are producing 29 and consuming 12. Now, remember, as our population goes up, that number of consumption will go up, too. So if we happen to take more and more people in, it's going to be more and more food consumption. So it might be a good idea to put more people into hunting or something like that. I wonder actually where those deer are. I feel like they're deer. They got to be out there somewhere. They're hiding from me. We'll find them. Don't you worry. Okay, let's go ahead and speed things up. Love the smoke coming out of the buildings. I think some of the chimneys on the homes showcase that too. I think they actually show fire and whatnot going on, but I don't think it actually has any sort of wood consumption. This is just visual. Of all the resources in this game, that at least is one less thing to worry about. The last step, a place to track everything about your settlement and your people. View the overview panel. Health is the subject that we should pay attention to the most. It should be our priority to find a solution to our current conditions, examine the factors affecting public health, and take decisive action. Yes, indeed. So a lack of food, a lack of clothing, those types of things are what we should be considering most. So here we have our life tab, and there it comes down to poor quality of, workforce conditions, housing, season, for example. So the season itself and poor housing can all affect that negatively. So we're going to want to build houses soon, and yeah, that's something I've been wanting to do for quite some time. Tutorial complete. We're finally securing our self-sufficiency, having left our temporary campsites behind for good. From now on, you must devise production plans according to the needs of your people and the settlement. You can set your choice, of course, by exploring further developments. Remember, you may have no time. We know what to expect, but we can't be sure when or how. Yeah, so maybe things like droughts, tornadoes, who knows what kind of weather effects could be waiting for us. We don't know. We do need to research, though, some shacks, so let's get to that then. If we take the oath, we then get ourselves some homes. So yeah, lots of great detail and lore behind each of these things, too. All right, it is autumn, so we should get our people housed ASAP, and we should probably produce more food, etc., but this is a good start. Now, while we wait for those homes to be researched, let's go ahead and start with a layout around the town hall. Let's see if we can square this up. There we go. And I'm also going to build that storage thing that we saw unlocked earlier, too, where I think it's called the stockpile, where we can then put logs and other things for construction, which will be very helpful. So resources, field camp, gathering camp. We have utilities. There's our stockpile. So that'll be good to store that in the town, or near it at least. And we also have some iron out here too. Might be a good idea to build our industrial section out here. Lots of flat land, open, not a lot of trees, which is good because then we can start our blacksmithing out here too. So that might be a good thing to do in the future. So maybe we'll build that here, and we'll build all of our houses up that way. So we'll do our stockpile on this side. So that way the industries here can provide that stockpile with resources, and then the industries that take from that, like the blacksmith, can be nearby. Love this road. I love it. You can just see it. You can just see it, man. Would love a map editor for this game. I certainly want to give some feedback and say, like, there's so much to love about the landscape here that I'd like to make my own map, or have a procedurally generated system where we can build our own maps and stuff too. You know, like sliders where we increase or decrease the number of mountains or resources or water, that kind of thing. All right, we're going to speed up time and get those houses done. There's where we can see the research, this little bubble filling up. Yeah. And as that overflows, then that means that research is done. So much to discover and explore in this one. Even for me, with those trains, conveyor belts, traders that come in on elephants and whatnot, I love it. I really want to see much more of this myself and get a feel for it ASAP. All right, let's go ahead and build some homes here before winter. We'll start with a little block here. 4 homes right there in that corner. And we'll build a dusty road. Oh, and we're out of lumber. Well, that's fine. All of our lumber should be going towards the home construction. And I don't think any of it is used for cooking. I don't think so. We're getting closer to winter, though. Oh, boy. We should all appreciate better access to food. Oh, she's just saying that out in the open. Uh-oh, unkept promises. And here's some of those events, too, I'd mentioned. These will be more frequent and more challenging as time goes on. What's the point of increasing food shares if some of us don't even get a bite? We don't have enough food to meet the ration distribution you've set for the population. Giving us false hope won't benefit anyone. We're waiting on you to set things straight. I will reassess the situation. All right. So we'll fix that then. So now they're mad that we're consuming a little bit more than we're making. I don't blame them. We've got quite a few mushrooms, but we need more. So let's build another soup kitchen. Actually, let's build another gathering hut. We've got mushrooms here. Eventually, we will be able to do hunting, so that won't be too much of a problem. Oh, we have fish here. Ah, our people will be able to fish from the shore. I don't think we have that unlocked, though. It would be nice to make a fish stew. Yeah, a fishery. I like how our gathering buildings are generic buildings, but they can be... The tools that the workers bring to those sites, that's what determines what the building will do. So obviously, you could pick mushrooms with your bare hands or with a stick, really. Hunting, you would probably need a different type of stick, like a spear or possibly a bow and arrow. And, of course, if you're fishing, you could possibly do the same. So let's go ahead and build here. We're going to build freely. Oh, there's the road there. I can see it. We'll build along the future road there. We'll try to provide some more mushrooms so we can see the road kind of winding through. And then we'll build another soup kitchen nearby. So that's what all of our production will go towards. Now, we will be able to make a lot more food. Once we get the deer hunting going, that's not going to be a problem at all. Plop that down next to it. All right, so those 2 buildings will be constructed. And we'll need a lot more lumber. So do we have a full squad on that? Full team? 5, yeah. And I think we're making more logs than we are lumber. So we could make another sawmill. Yeah, wow, look at that. 636. So yeah, we could totally do that. We just need to make sure that we have enough workers for the food, since that's kind of more of the critical issue right now. We build another one near the stockpile. Now this will be interesting because this one here could be for making lumber, and then this one in the future could be for making paper. So we can plop another one down there too. And then of course we can make our roads. But we're out of lumber, so we can't do that because we need the power lines. So it's okay. It's something we can work on. Daily improvements. Getting better every day in the game, for sure. Alright, so once we keep that promise. Oh, winter has arrived. Objective complete, actually. Oh yeah, alright, they're actually happy. Objective successfully completed. Distribution policies are in accord with our needs. We have to consent to what we can afford. Just be careful not to exploit the situation. All right, so we actually did it. We distributed everything that they wanted. Very nice. Now winter is here. Where are we going to get mushrooms? They've all died off for the year. We will have to see. And homes are being constructed too, so I'm pretty sure... Is everybody housed? Well, we're still building more homes, so that's exactly where a lot of that's going to go to. Actually, are these homes required to... Yes, they do need lumber. So, yeah, priorities here will matter too. To which I think we can set priorities for construction. Very nice. All right, everyone. Well, that is going to be our first look for today of News Cycle, a very promising city builder that I'm very excited to see a lot more of. And this is just kind of a little look at the tutorial and what the basics are. But of course, this will get much more challenging as supplies and seasonal cycles will kill production of all sorts of things. Both winter and brutal summers and the Earth's atmosphere and whatnot can all affect everything we can do in the game. So we will see what happens soon. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for leaving a like, and I hope to see you all soon for a continuation of the series here on the channel. I'll see you all next time. Thank you very much for watching.